Okay, I'm back. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up at question 4. That's where I left off. Okay. How did matter get so perfectly organized? Well, the simple answer to that is matter is not perfectly organized. Well, if matter were perfectly organized, I believe Cape and Cowell said it this way, then our universe would be like an enormous crystal. Everything would be regularly arranged in a lattice-like structure, and it would be perfect, sublime, eternal, unchanging, and lifeless. If a universe like that were to exist, there would be no entities within it to contemplate its perfection. It would just be an enormous, uniform thing. So, no, the universe is not perfectly organized, nor is it totally disorganized. If it was completely disorganized, then everything within it would randomly pop in and out of existence with no rhyme or reason. A person might come into existence, but before he could even think about his lot in life, he would cease to exist. There would be no life, at least nothing that lasts for any significant amount of time. So our universe is mostly disorganized, with just enough organization to keep things stable enough for stuff to form. So where did the energy come from to do all the organizing? Question 5. Well, it came from heat. It came from the energy from the Big Bang. When the Big Bang first started, its temperature would have been a billion degrees Celsius. And a fraction of a second later, it had cooled to a billion degrees Celsius. It was very, very hot. But now, the temperature of the universe is 2 or 3 degrees Kelvin. That's very close to the coldest possible temperature. All of that energy was used to make the universe, to make all the stuff that's in the universe. Every particle of matter, every photon, everything that's in the universe came from that enormous amount of matter and energy that was in the Big Bang. So that's where it came from. It's not even really a question. When, where, why, and how did life come from dead matter? Okay, this is almost biology, but it's still chemistry. And actually, CDK007, who I've linked there, has a very nice video on how non-living, not dead matter implies that it was alive at some point and then died. Non-living matter became life. And basically, it's that the primitive oceans contained all the building blocks of life. It had lipid molecules that like to form little bubble-like structures, similar to cell membranes. It contained organic molecules that were the base pairs that was the base pairs for RNA that would form organic molecules capable of replicating themselves. And slowly, these replicating molecules found homes in these fat cell bubbles, and they would and they had some characteristics of living cells, in that they could evolve and adapt. You know, they would find more efficient ways to get the molecules they need to construct their genetic material. They would find more efficient ways to replicate themselves. And eventually, this is a very long process, probably took a few 100 million years, you get primitive cellular bacteria from that, the archaea. But it's not like you had a puddle of goo and then little things started crawling out of it. It was a very long process, and it required specific chemical compounds and time. Very important time. But CDK007 describes it much better than I'm capable of, and he has lots of visual aids. I really think you should check out his video. Okay. When, where, why, and how did life learn to reproduce itself? Yeah, that's almost a question for evolution. Actually, it still harkens to abiogenesis, because if you look at CDK's video, you'll find that reproduction actually comes before life. So life was created already with the ability to reproduce. That's kind of one of the important things that makes it life. Now, question 8. With what did the first cell capable of sexual reproduction reproduce? Okay, now you might think that this is a difficult question, but the simple answer is that you don't get two genders just like that. It's assuming that life went from single-celled organisms that reproduce by splitting apart to organisms that produce gametes, eggs and sperm, which would combine to make an embryo which would grow up into a living thing. It's not that simple. Although several bacteria have been witnessed to exchange genetic material by connecting their cell walls with a tube-like structure. Biologists believe that that's the most primitive form of sex there is, although it's just an exchange of genetic material. And eukaryotic cells, i.e. paramecium, for example, have been known to rub up against each other and exchange genetic material in between their whole dividing thing. And that's primitive sex there. The purpose of sexual reproduction is to make sure your genetic material doesn't get weakened from just having to copy itself over and over again. It's a way you can help it's just a logical conclusion to propagating your genes by teaming up with another organism. Because if you have your genes, but if you die, then your genes are gone. But if you have progeny, then they carry your genes on. And actually, that answers number 9. The purpose of sex, more mouths to feed. Now, in our society, where we worry about overpopulation, you might think that's a problem. But in the natural world, it's not. Very few species live very long after they reproduce. Or after they're capable of reproducing. In fact, some species live for literally a few days, and their only purpose in that life is to reproduce and make sure there's another generation of them. Reproduction exists to ensure that your genes and your species will continue on. It's not really out of your personal drive that you want to survive, or even your species drive. It's of your genes' drive to survive that things are capable of reproduction. Number 10. How can mutations? Yes. Well, I also posted a link to Don Exodus's video on on genetic mutation that shows how genetic information increases with mutation. Their example, recombining English letters will never produce Chinese books. That's true, but then again, English and Chinese are two different alphabets. All DNA is written in the same alphabet. There are 4 base pairs, 4 nucleotides that form base pairs that form all DNA for all living things. It's the same 4 letters, and they combine in an almost infinite variety of ways. It's almost over. Okay, similarities in design. Well, only 30 seconds left. Okay, the similarities in design argument. That does not mean a common creator. If you look in the DNA, you find that our genetic makeup is similar to related species. But no, actually, I have 10 seconds left, and there's no way. Maybe I should just answer number 11 separately. So I guess I'm gonna do one more quick quick video for question number 11 by itself.